Welcome to the Hasn't Been 3 Days podcast with your hosts, Justin and BJ. We talk about 3-day-old news, sports, and whatever else we want to talk about. You, the MVP listener, you listen in, you laugh, you enjoy your time, you just escape from reality for about an hour. You hate on our takes, you call us, you email us, you check our socials, let us know about it, but just wait and make sure it's been 3 days. So we're here, another week, we're back. And Justin, how the heck are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. We're a day late on things, so get a little extra sleep and rest. That's why we took this, right? Because it's good. It's good. It's getting nice here. It's 80s, 90s. It seems like all the time now. So summer's here, I guess. But yeah, no, I enjoy being outside and working in the yard. So even though there's a lot to do, I have fun with it.
Yeah.
But things are good. Things are good.
And you've
traveling.
I was going to say you've had a busy weekend and a busy last few days. Why don't you fill us in?
Yes. So this last weekend we went to Louisville, Kentucky. Me and my son. We left on Wednesday evening and drove to the great state of Missouri and stayed in Columbia, Missouri. Boo Tigers. But so we stayed in Columbia on our first leg of our trip, and then we went through St. Louis and on our way to Louisville, Kentucky, and took a day to go to the Arch, go find some barbecue.
And you went to Pappy's.
We ended up going to Pappy's on the way back, yes, but we should have went.
How long was the wait?
Oh my gosh. Well, this hallway that you stay in at Pappy's is probably had 40 people in it in line.
Wow.
But the reason the line seems long is because they don't let you into the seating area of the restaurant until there's actual table open. So you can't even order your food until they can sit you down. So that's why you spend most of your time in the hallway at 3:00 in the afternoon to get ribs. But oh man, I would highly recommend Pappy's in St. Louis if you ever are in need of really good ribs. I would definitely wait the amount of time that we did to have them. So that place had like 8 smokers. He told me they had 8 smokers and 1 portable smoker that they just do ribs constantly, and they walk the ribs from the smoker right through the seating area on these trays. You're just like, just bring that over here right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it was worth the wait. I sent a picture to a couple people, and we were like 40 deep when we walked in. I was like, Brendan, I don't know, dude. This is gonna take forever. And then we got closer, and they're like, we only have so many ribs left. And I was like, if we get up there and we get no ribs, I'm gonna lose my mind. But I think they had more than they thought. So, but Pappy's, way to go in St. Louis. That's a good spot. So
nice. That's awesome.
Have you had Pappy's before?
No, I haven't. And when you called me to ask for recommendations, and mine was a chain, which was decent. It's a decent chain in St. Louis when we were in that area. We liked it. It was I told you this.
Quantity.
To me, the value.
Yeah, value.
The value for your money, that to me is what makes good everybody can barbecue. Now, some sauces and rubs are better than others. I get
100%.
that. But everybody can do it, and everybody does it, and they have their own little spin on it, and everybody does their little thing. But to me, it comes down to value, sauce, or seasoning, and the sides.
Sides, 100%.
And so when you have all of those 3, then you're a good barbecue place for me. So
it has to be served on a tray, like a
metal
platter,
tray.
A metal tray with paper on it. If you get it any other way, then you're done.
You might as well walk out and not even pay for your food.
Unfortunately, we went to another place near Busch Stadium. It was a corporate barbecue place. We went to that place first, and then had Pappy's on the way back through St. Louis. But we had this place. It's called what was it even called? Salt and Smoke. Decent. Like, it is good food. But but it was just like so corporatized. Like it's just so corporate. The people, like, you didn't have the guy walking out with barbecue stains on his apron and just walking through and greeting people. You had people who it's just a corporate job for them, and they just didn't really care. So but the food was good, and they literally had smokers outside. So you're like, okay, this is where it's coming from. Like, it wasn't being shipped in or anything like that. So
yeah, it was legit. That's cool. I'm glad you had that. When you were in Louisville, and I'm not making fun of it. That's how they say it. If you're a local from Louisville, please confirm that at 3-Day-Old Podcast, the number 3, dayoldpodcast@gmail.com.
I actually got told that I was saying it correctly every time I was there. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, I don't know. I don't even know. Just
there you go.
Louisville. Could get stabbed for saying that, man.
So I have a question for you on the archery thing. I saw, again, I told you this when he went to the state tournament, right? Or the state shoot.
Correct.
And I said, I think, they're sending some kids from Superior to the state shoot, or from Nebraska. Well,
yeah.
I saw you were sending me pictures of being at the Louisville Slugger museum or whatever you were at.
Yeah, factory, actually.
Yeah. And so was this other kid that I know. His mom used to be friends with my family, and I follow her on Facebook. They were there as well. And I didn't know if they were there for the shoot. I'll have to talk off air about who it was. I don't want to mention their name, but
yeah.
I don't know if you got updates on people's, status updates on their shooting or not, from if there was other Nebraska people not from Lincoln.
There's a website that I can look at every archer that's actually been at the history of this tournament. I can search them by last name, and you can search by city and state where they're from. So, I could probably figure out who it was. But were you seeing pictures on their socials or something, and then you're like, hey, are you guys at the same place literally at the same time right now?
Yeah, I did. I don't talk. I'm not friends with this person. They just happen to follow me. And so I just saw that they were posting pictures with their son at the factory as well. And so I thought, wow, that's weird. You guys were probably there at the same time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, there was 14, just under 15,000 archers at this event from 33 states.
Dang.
So, and a pretty even split, about 7,200 female and about 7,700 males, 720 teams just for Bullseye. That was just Bullseye. That's the event that Brenton shot in. They have a 3D event and then another one called Center Shot, which I don't know too much about. But, so Brenton shot really well for his first time. He shot 250, which was 10 over his average, or what he wanted to shoot, what he's actually telling people that he would see at these vendor booths. There's one guy that his vending booth was just a booth that says, hey, whatever you shoot, like, it was like an inspirational booth. Like, he was given, like, he has an inspirational, like, website, and he just was, like, instilling all this positivity into every kid that walked by. Hey, what are you going to shoot? And he would literally ask every kid, and then he'd be like, come back and tell me what you shot. And then we can talk about, like, how, just, he's like, it doesn't matter as long as you're having fun. And it was just the coolest little interaction. That guy sat there. That dude was probably there for 12, 15 hours. Easy. And he's probably there all 3 days. Just giving inspiration. He wasn't selling nothing. Like, it was pretty cool. So yeah, Brenton came back later and the guy's like, hey, what'd you shoot? You said 240. What'd you get? Like, he even remembered. Like, I was like, come on. But we spent time talking to him. So maybe different than every kid, some of those people you remember those people that you talked to. And it wasn't that much. It was only a few hours in between. So,
yeah.
But he was like, I want to go tell that guy. And I was like, we can go do that. Like, so yeah, Brenton shot 250, which is a really good score, in the sense of, never shooting before. 250 doesn't do anything like plaque wise or anything like that, but at the archery, they sell pens and stuff that you can buy, like 250, 275, 280. They have all these things.
Kind
So
of like bowling.
yeah, 250 is a good score to be shooting at nationals when you got 800 kids shooting at one time during a time frame. They have 400 They had 400 lanes and 2 kids at each. So there's 800 arrows being shot, like
Wow.
at one point. So, yeah,
So
it's
what's like a perfect score?
300.
300. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that's really good.
250 is freaking amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Well, get the applause meter ready, but that is awesome. That is really good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about perfect score in bowling's 300 as well, and I don't know how many rounds they shoot to get to the 300, but I mean, if you're shooting 250, that's pretty good.
Well, so they're shooting 5 shots for 3 times each at 10 meters, and then they repeat that and do it from 15 meters. So, you have 30 shots? No, is that right? I don't know. 3 and carry the 1. I don't know. I can't remember now. But you're shooting 5 arrows, yeah.
Times 3 is, that's 15. That's 30 shots. So, 10 points a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's law of averages. He's doing pretty good. So,
yeah, that's
and
awesome.
He'll be better. So, yes, he does get a congratulations.
Well, I know he's listening, so congratulations, Brenton. You are the man. You shot better than both your dad or I would have done. So good for you, man.
Dude, I went and shot with him a week before and hadn't shot arrows since high school, and I had the most wicked bruise on my arm from it kicking back on me.
The last time you shot arrows was the last time. Well, I shot some arrows before, but you and I were in that same gym class.
I was like, that was the last time. That was the last time. So,
and that was no compound bow. That was just a single bow with a little wrist guard on. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I had the worst bruise on my arm forever. And then the guy that runs that state archery place here in Lincoln, he's the marshal, and he was there that day when I got that really bad bruise. It bruised up my whole forearm, and he was at Louisville because he coaches one of the high school teams. So I saw him in the hallway, and I said, "Hey, look, he healed up." And he could see the outline. He's like, "That thing bruised so bad." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen." I was like, "Well, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it well." So, but the last thing. Sorry, I'm taking up all of this, but last thing is also, unfortunately, I had to miss it. Unfortunately, Bree didn't play, but her team, as part of Standing Bear Tennis reserve team, their reserve team won city. Yeah, they are the very first team to win city for Standing Bear. This is the first reserve team they've ever had, so she will go down in the books as part of a team that won and swept pretty much every event at city against all the schools in Lincoln. So
and Standing Bear is a new school, so it's a smaller school. Second year. And they're beating the entire city, which those of you that don't know, Lincoln has 4 or 5 city schools that are public city major schools. All the directional schools. East, southeast, high, northeast, southwest now.
Yeah, so there's 6 Class A schools.
Okay.
Yep, the 4 originals, and then they added North Star and Southwest.
Right.
Okay. And then 2 years ago, Standing Bear and Northwest opened. So those are Class B schools.
Right.
And just by enrollment size. And so there's 8 public schools in Lincoln. But yes, tennis was, like an East High thing, right? East High is the one.
That's what I asked in pre-show was, did you guys beat East? Because East was they're a tennis monster. So
yeah, so she also gets an applause. So she'll go down as history of being the first reserve team at Standing Bear, and then went in city, sweeping everything. So
That's awesome.
That's a big achievement for them, and that's something cool to take with you for the rest of your life, that you were the first for something. And she's going to have a lot of those because she's the only second freshman class to go through that school, so that's going to be kind of unique for the kids. So
yeah, she'll be in the books for a while. That'll be cool. Good for her. That's awesome.
So, what about you? What did you have go on?
Oh man. Well, this weekend we had our event at work, so we had our Walk for Life. I currently work for a pregnancy care center that we are I tell people this, I'm going to say it. It's our podcast, so we can say what we want.
Yeah, that's right.
We are unapologetically pro-life, faith-based organization, and this is one of our events to raise money for our operational funds. And it was a new start. We kind of hit the reset on this event. We've done it in the past, but I didn't know anything about it. I've never done one, so we kind of just let it go as is and see what happened. We raised some good money. We had a good time. It's a little 1 mile walk. Some people could go more if they wanted to do it a second time, but had a good speaker, good turnout, just a great time, great weather for it. So my wife and I and her son went, and we had a great time, and my staff is wonderful. The volunteers were wonderful. But yeah, we had about 95 to 96 people show up for to walk. Those were the people that registered. There were more people that didn't register that still walked with us, so that was cool too. So we go around our little town there that I work in, and people are like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "It's the Walk for Life." It's pretty cool. So we gave away an award. This was cool. We gave away an award for the most valuable walker, and our staff decided to do this. We have a lady she comes into the center, and she's been a supporter of the center for a lot of years, and she's been pregnant 3 times. She's an older lady now, but with all of her pregnancies, she came through the center, and she ended up losing one to a miscarriage. But she's walked in every single walk in the history of the center, and so we honored her with kind of a lifetime achievement award, the most valuable walker award, and gave her a little gift card. So it was pretty cool to do that, and yeah, we had a good time. So yeah, that was my Saturday. A little bit extra work, but it was all good. Last couple of days, I've had some extra time with my kids, and I love that. So I'm thankful for those moments as well. Another part of the delay this week in the podcast, but family first, so that's good. But yeah, that's been my last few days for sure. So,
well, good deal. Busy. It's that time of the year.
Nothing stops. It seems like, you talk about your kids, and those are great things. Elliot and Ronnie are running track right now, so we're getting ready for districts for high school, and Elliot has advanced he's on the varsity team for one of his events, and so he's going to be running in his first ever varsity district meet next week. So he made varsity, and he had to choose. He could have done JV for 3 events at districts, but once you choose which districts you're going to go to, that's your choice. You can't do both.
Okay.
So, and track's one of those that you can go back and forth during the season between JV and varsity because there's so many kids.
Yeah.
And so many different things going on. I mean, the McMinnville track team is about 200 kids. So it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. And I mean, we're the highest level school by enrollment in the state. So we're a 6A school in Oregon. So he made varsity in the 400, and so he'll be running in the varsity district meet. He chose to do varsity for 1 event instead of JV for 3 events. But he's PR'd the last 2 meets in the 400 and continues to run that well. And he's also the first alternate in the varsity 4x400 meter relay. So
nice.
He continues to improve his time. He just PR'd at 54 seconds for the 400, which for those of you that don't know, that's 1 lap around the track. It's the hardest sprint in track. It's a sprint, but for me as a long distance runner, I was like, only weird people run this race because you have to sprint the entire lap. That's insane.
Yeah.
And so their 4x400 meter relay team for varsity is a very good team. They're running very, very fast right now, but he's got a 54 split in that race as well, and he's run the 54 in the free as well. So he's equaled PRs in both races. So he only keeps improving. It's pretty cool to watch him. He's running strong. He's healthy. So it's cool to watch him. Ronnie runs the 200 and the 100 in unified track. And he just dyed his hair red and bleached the sides. He's got a mohawk now with bright red, like Chiefs colored hair.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So but what's funny about watching him run unified is he comes around the corner in the 200. The 200's his race. He PR'd in the 200 this last meet, and now he's getting ready to go into Special Olympics. But he ran the 200 and he won the race, but he's coming down the straightaway, and it's in front of, like in Oregon, the stadiums are undercover because of all the rain. So usually the stands are undercover. The track's not, obviously, but the home stands are undercover. And there's a big roof over it. Yeah. So, but there's a huge grandstand on the start finish line, and he comes down the straightaway and he's like pumping up the crowd as he finishes the race.
Oh, geez. That's awesome.
But yeah, he's running the 200 and the 100. He's, like I said, he just started Special Olympics, which he's running every year since we've been out here, which is really cool. Special Olympics program out here is awesome. Kudos to the Special Olympics people. They are amazing. They do a great job, and the track volunteers are amazing. Last year we got to run at Oregon State for the state meet. This year we're going back to a college in Salem, but the kids love it. They put on a great track meet for these kids and these adults, and it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what we're getting ready for. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. But work and track over here.
Work and kid stuff. That's how it always goes. And nobody would ever change it.
No, that's, when you get to be our age, you start to realize what's important and what's not. And it's one of those things you tell I know you do this too. I mean, I tell my work people, it's like, I'm going for kid stuff. You're not, especially through the season I've been through the last couple of years. When the kids want me there, I'm there, no matter what.
100%.
So, yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it's been, for me anyways. Like, people at work, the funniest thing is like, people at work are like, well, I got to save my time off. You never know. And I'm like, you're saving your time off because you don't, you choose not to do stuff. Like, I'm okay with having just over 40 hours. Like, I've spent all mine. Like, I'm taking time off whenever I want to go do stuff. And yeah, the things that we've, gone through for the last 10 years, that priority, or even when I changed jobs 10 years ago, I changed jobs for a work-life balance, and I've never gone back against that, even though I might work myself a bunch of hours or something before I need to take off a bunch of time. But yeah, so yep. Well, 3 days old news. We haven't done this segment in a while. The right way. I don't know if it's been right or wrong, but we haven't done it in a while. So
yeah.
Couple things that we kind of noted here. The one thing I put down, and I don't know why this is even that big of a deal. I don't think it is. I just came across it. Is NBA? We can talk about NBA basketball. So NBA basketball, the Nuggets have a playoff game that they were. There was a debate if they were going to have to move their playoff game because a pop star, Katy Perry, has a concert scheduled there. Like, and I think the recent news, just like in the last 12 hours or something, is they moved her concert. They moved her concert because the arena is going to be used by the Nuggets. But most of these arenas get built in places that, because they have a tenant that's going to be there for those seasons, and that's why they get billed. That's why they get the funding, right? You get an NBA or a franchise to come, or hockey or whatever. So why does it even come into a debate that they should? Well, I don't know. Should the Nuggets move their game, or should Katy Perry just move? Whatever, or whoever it might be. So
Yeah.
what? I guess my question is this: is like, what is too big to push an NBA team away from the night that they were supposed to have their NBA game? Like, who's the biggest person out there?
I don't think there is, and I think we're going
Okay.
to land on the same side of this coin in this argument, this discussion. But I think who's the name? That's what you asked.
Yeah.
I think in this day and age, Taylor Swift comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
Or if you go back to some of those old school bands that a lot of people love,
like Rolling Stones or something.
Rolling Stone. If the Beatles were able, the Beatles obviously would trump some. I'm thinking of like maybe Wood, and maybe this. This band is sticking in my head, and I don't know why, because I think it goes multiple generations. That's why. But Guns N' Roses.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Metallica.
Metallica, definitely. They did cause an earthquake recently.
So there's this, but I'm with you. I think we fall on the same side of this. I think when you have in an arena that was built for a team, it's their team, it's their arena, they get dibs. It's like, it's an Airbnb situation, right?
Yeah.
You're renting this out, but if you own the home and you want to go stay in your own home, you're not renting it to somebody else and sharing it with them. You're taking it. So I say, and it's not just because I'm a sports guy, it's not just because I'm a Colorado guy and a Nuggets guy, but Nuggets, you trump Katy Perry every single day.
Nuggets beat Perry.
From this vantage point, I wouldn't pay money to see Katy Perry anyway.
Well, I get that. It's just interesting, up until like 12 hours ago or whatever, the news came out that they moved Katy Perry's concert to the next day or something like that, whatever it might be. And I get those concerts are put out sometimes 9-10 months in advance. So maybe they weren't giving the Nuggets credit. That's the problem. But you don't really know what the playoff schedule is going to be either at that point. So I guess it's no one wins, no one loses.
They're going to reschedule Katy Perry, and all those fans are still going to get to see her play at I call it's not this anymore. McNichols Arena.
Yeah.
Pepsi Center.
Pepsi Center. Yep. Pepsi Center. They should have just moved the basketball game to the Broncos Stadium right next door. Or wait, is it that's close still?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah. They should just put it at Broncos Stadium and just gave away a bunch of free tickets and called it good.
For Katy Perry?
Either.
Yeah,
why couldn't you have a playoff basketball game there? That'd be awesome.
You could have, but artists do outside venues all the time, so you could have put Katy Perry there at Invesco Field at Mile High. That would have been fine.
Yeah, just put it over there.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And from a playoff standpoint, you mentioned this. But I got a story. I got a personal story about McNichols Arena. I mentioned McNichols Arena. If I can toot my own horn for a minute, I got to play in that arena. As a kid, I got to go to a competition where I made it to the state championship of the TriStar Optimist basketball competition. So I don't know if there's any. I think it was TriStar. Yeah, TriStar the Optimist Club. People that do the drive around in the funny cars, I think, in parades, that kind of thing. But they put on a basketball skills competition.
Shriners Club? The Shriners?
Oh, then it's not the Shriners. It's TriStar Optimist is what it was. But they put on the basketball competition, and I won my local school and then my regional school, and then I got to go to the state tournament because I was top competitor in my age group, and I got to compete on McNichols Arena floor before the game, and this would have been in 1990, I believe 94, because it was between the Jordan triples. Yeah. So Jordan won 3 in a row, he retired, and then the Rockets won 2 back-to-back, and then Jordan came back and won 3 more. So I got to play up McNichols Arena floor, and if I would have this is the bad. I'll tell you the whole story because I don't want to make it sound like I'm this great person. But I missed being the finalist by missing a layup. I missed a layup. And
did you jump off the wrong foot?
Maybe I don't remember that, but here's the thing: when I played for school ball, layups were hard. I had a better percentage from 3-point land than I did from layups. So,
Man.
yeah, that's how bad it was. But I missed a layup, and I missed making the finals by 1 point. So if I would have made that layup, I would have got to compete at halftime of that game we were at. But I missed it by 1 point, and I got second place, and so I didn't get to compete or didn't get to go down on the floor at halftime. But that game the Nuggets were playing was against the Rockets the year they won the championship. So
That's
Team
cool.
Olajuwon, Kenny the Jet Smith was on that team, Robert Ory, Otis Thorpe, all of these guys. I don't know if anybody knows who these guys are, but I remember them. But we were there early, so I got, these are old Nuggets players that if you play 2K, they're on the all-time Nuggets team. But Mahmoud Abdul-Aruf, LaFonso Ellis, Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, all of these guys were there. Yeah, no soup for you.
No soup for you.
Now the Nuggets in those 2 seasons, this was one of the years where they were the 8th seed and they beat the Seattle Sonics, which were the 1 seed at the time. That was history making when the Nuggets beat the 1 seed. But anyway, I got to play on the floor of McNichols Arena. So there's a story for you, for those of you that tune in to hear our stories. There you go. So,
and just last month, that those regional competitions happened, by the way.
Oh, are you looking it up?
Oh, 100% I am.
Yeah. So it's still happening.
It's still going. Colorado, Wyoming Optimist Clubs presents TriStar basketball competitions. So still going to this day.
Nice.
8 and 13, 8 and 13, somewhere in that range. Skills for dribbling, shooting, and passing.
Yep.
Competitions and stuff. So
we had a time dribbling drill between cones and around the court, whatever. Then we had a passing, both direct passes and bounce passes. And then we had free throws and layups.
4 free throws at the distance of your age.
Yep.
2 shots from anywhere outside the key. 10 points awarded for each basket.
Okay, so it's shifted a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So I think the outside the key, that's why I shot right out. Like if you're playing around the horn and you go down to the box and make that layup outside the key, that's the one I missed.
Okay.
Yep.
And passing is 3 direct passes, 3 bounce passes.
Yep, I hit all 6 of those. Yep.
And then dribbling's a course that's a straight line, 32 feet long, 4 obstacles, blah, blah, blah. Weave it in and out. Yeah, just your normal.
Yeah, and I was quick. I was a point guard, so, I mean, passing and
your normal NBA All-Star Weekend stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I could have played in the NBA if I was more taller than 5'3". So,
I mean, you played in an arena that didn't have a concert the same day.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's a cool story, though. That's cool.
But yeah, that's my big story. Is that
I don't have an NBA story.
No.
Living in Lincoln, Nebraska, there's no NBA around here.
So what? I'm not saying this to because I have another story of where I got to go to a state competition.
No, because you're amazing.
No. That's not why I'm saying it. But did you ever do any of those kind of things? Did you do like the Elks free throw competition or anything like that in school?
No, I didn't want to let everybody know how good I was.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I could just keep it under wraps, and
then
I'll just become a legend to myself.
Did you ever go to like a baseball game and see how fast you could throw it with the radar gun?
Oh yeah, 100% I did.
Okay. Do you remember how fast you threw it?
And
how old you were? Because you have a cannon as an arm. You can throw the ball like crazy.
I could throw the ball pretty hard back in the day.
And far. A football. You can throw a football in high school. You could throw a football 50 or 60 yards.
Throw it over that mountain.
I can throw it over that. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
No, I mean, yeah. So I think I don't remember if I want to say somewhere in the 70s is where I was throwing.
That's what I was thinking. It was like 73.
And I think Kansas, at Worlds of Fun, I think they have that where you can throw the pitch meter thing too, but they have them at major league ballparks or, minor league ballparks too. So I thought they were going to have one at Louisville Slugger Museum Factory because they had a thing where you could stand there and a pitch machine on a Jumbotron kind of thing has the pitcher and a ball comes out at like 100 miles per hour. Like you can just see how fast it comes. And you're sitting there. I was like, oh, I wish they did it the other way so you can see if you could throw it. So I was hoping to throw my arm out. It was what I was hoping for. But yeah, no, I just got to go hit the batting cage and hit with George Brett's bat. So
did you have on that? Did you hit it from the jumbotron too, so you could see?
No, it was just a pitch catch. It was just a batting cage.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but I got to hold a replica of George Brett's bat and hit with it. So
the pine tar bat.
No, I asked for more pine tar. They looked at me like I was crazy. Well, I think that the two people that were working probably weren't even born anywhere near any. Probably they were born 20 years after you retired.
This is an easy trivia question, though, for you. You should get this.
Oh, you think?
Who were the Royals playing in the Pine Tar game?
Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. See, I told you it was easy.
Yeah, my dad tells. I don't know if I told this on the podcast, but my dad, when that happened and George Brett came running out of the dugout, my dad said as a kid, I would do that over and over, mimic that constantly. So,
yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Speaking of Major League Baseball, you brought up another idea on our show notes here. Major League Baseball has the commissioner of Major League Baseball has just announced that they have lifted the lifetime ban on Pete Rose and also the Black Sox, the entire team of the scandal, and including Shoeless Joe Jackson. So you're not a huge baseball fan. I'm probably a bigger baseball fan than you are. But these two things, I mean, I'm not surprised at all by this news because everybody's dead now. But I'm going to start with you. What is your take on this? And then I want to share I've got some pretty passionate opinions here, but go ahead and tell me what you think about Major League Baseball doing.
Okay. On the surface, everybody's betting anyways nowadays. Okay. So on the surface, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Hang on. Just let me finish.
Okay.
And I get betting against yourself and betting against your own team. That's a different thing. I get that.
When you're in it, that's a different thing.
Correct.
And that's why there's still people when they have gambling in all the sports now. And I'll let you finish. I promise.
Yeah, but you're right. So
the players cannot gamble right now. It's still against the rules for the players to gamble.
And you think they all follow that?
It's still against the rules for the players to gamble. But go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, so for that, I mean, I can see to the point where, I think they could have reinstated him, especially Pete Rose, since he was still alive up until, just last year. That I think they could have changed it to allow it since he was such an advocate and still cared about Major League Baseball that much to even, be around and be at these shows and doing things. I think they could have lifted it, allow him to have that great, that piece that he would fill. I think doing it a year later seems kind of just like they were waiting for Pete Rose to die. And then they're like, oh yeah, we'll look like better people. So now he can't say anything. And then if it's the family that says anything, it's like, it's just the family. And so, to me, like I said, I don't have any skin in the game on it, but
Pete Rose. So the logo of the NBA, like if you look at the NBA logo, is Jerry West.
Correct.
Jerry West is the logo. If they had a logo for baseball, it should be Pete Rose. Yep. I don't know, because the MLB baseball logo is a player batting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Pete Rose or not. I don't think it is anybody, but he loved baseball.
Dude, Charlie Hustle, man.
The guy was
everything.
Baseball. He was
baseball,
everything baseball. And he wasn't just one of the greatest hitters of all time. He then took that skill of what he loved about baseball and became a coach, became a manager, and that's where he got in trouble. But he would do anything for the game of baseball.
Dude, he played 24 years.
24 years. But here's
a long
fact check.
time.
I'm going to go on my soapbox here for a minute. While I'm doing that, fact check me on this.
Okay.
I believe his son managed a Wichita team. So not only was Pete Rose baseball, he loved the game. He loved his team. He loved playing Charlie Hustle. He ran over the catcher in a freaking All-Star game, for crying out loud. Okay? Who does that? Pete Rose does that. Pete Rose has the most hits of anybody in the history of the game. And for baseball, okay, I love baseball. And I heard a guy on my favorite podcast today talking about this, and he said if baseball is the only sport where we know the statistics.
Yep.
Statistics matter. And so this lifetime ban lift, yes. Will it get Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame? Probably so, based on his merits of hitting. It will not get him in the Hall of Fame from the writers. The writers will not let him in because they are the guardians of the stats. That's a TK quote.
Yep.
Tony Kornheiser said that on his podcast today. And that's the thing. We know how many home runs Babe Ruth hit. We know how many home runs we know how many home runs Barry Bonds hit. And what we decide, what we love as a fan, determines where we're at in that generation and what we know. But we know the stats. We know what Hank Aaron hit. We know the stolen base, or some of us know the stolen base stats. We know the stats.
Yeah.
We know that 300 wins is huge. We know the saves. We know the benchmarks. And yet Pete Rose, 4,000, I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. 4,600 some hits. I mean,
4,256.
256. 4,200. Who's second on that list, Justin?
I have no idea because I don't have the whole list up, but
Okay.
I just have the article with the Pete Rose stuff in it. That's my I don't have that fact checked right now, but
So as a baseball fan, here's the thing, and this is what I told my kids. My kids played baseball for a little bit, and it's like, you can be in the Hall of Fame in Major League Baseball and fail 70% of the time.
Ty Cobb had 4,189.
Okay, so he's closest, but he's even the generation way back. Ichiro?
Derek
Is close.
Jeter is 6 on the list. He's at 3,465.
So 3,000 hits has been the benchmark.
Correct.
For our generation. For our
Correct.
generation of fan, if somebody can get to 3,000 hits or 500 home runs, that was a big deal. Then you're going to be in the conversation for Hall of Fame. And
Correct.
Pete Rose had 4,256. 56, is that what you said?
Pete Rose, 4,256, correct.
56 home runs, or hits. What the heck? The hardest thing to do in any sport is to hit a round ball with a round wooden stick.
Yeah.
And he did it 4,256 times.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think, like, you just mentioned somebody like Ichiro. Like, we think Ichiro had, like, if you just mentioned that name, right?
Yeah,
you just threw it out there. Just because he only had 3,089 hits.
Nope.
But
Ichiro has most
more
hits in history because he played in Japan.
But in Major League stats.
In Major League stats,
Correct.
yes. But
100%.
he has over 5,000 career hits
Correct.
because of what he did professionally in Japan before he even came to the United States. And then he did what he did in the United States. Now, people may sit here and we're talking a lot of sports here, but
it's okay. We haven't done it in a while.
Getting hits in baseball is not ideal. I was watching a thing on Ricky Henderson the other day. Ricky Henderson is the stolen base records, but not only is that, he was, before Barry Bonds, he was the walks record.
Yep.
The stolen base record. I can't remember, intentional walks. There's something else, but Ricky Henderson was the epitome of get on base.
Mm-hmm.
If you check Ricky Henderson's on base percentage, he's got to be in the top 3 of all time. Because when he got on base, it was like Little League. You get on base and you get a triple in Little League because you're going to steal bases because the catchers, whatever the case may be. That was Ricky Henderson at the Major League level. He was the best base stealer of all time, and also could get on base through walks or what have you. Now, these guys, Ichiro, Ricky Henderson, Pete Rose, they were not all the flash of the home run ball. Like we talk about from our generation too, in the commercial of the chicks dig the long ball and pitchers hitting home runs, and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Jose Canseco and all these people that changed the home run game. Pete Rose and Ichiro and Ricky Henderson were not home run hitters. They were not the flashy guys.
If you had to guess how many home runs Pete Rose hit in 24 seasons, how many would you guess right now?
200.
Less.
Yeah.
160 home runs.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nuts.
So 100 over 24 100. I mean, that's crazy. Single digits some seasons.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But he had like over 700 doubles though.
Do you have his stats all there? How many stolen bases did he have?
Stolen bases 198 for his career.
But he also changed positions too.
Yep.
So he played catcher, I believe. Played second base or third base in the infield. The guy was baseball.
Yeah. Mr.
The epitome of baseball.
Correct.
Now I need to get off my soapbox here for a minute and say Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame for his merits on the field.
Correct.
Shoeless Joe Jackson, the Black Sox scandal, the betting in baseball, Pete Rose, same thing.
They fixed the World Series. I mean, they literally...
They did. And the reason they're lifting this ban is because everybody's gone, and they're what the commissioner of baseball said is these people can cause no more harm to the game. So we're lifting the ban.
Obviously, a person no longer with us can't represent a threat to the integrity of the game.
Right.
Is essentially the quote. Like, they can't do anything. So
I don't know what Shoeless Joe Jackson's stats were for his career, but I don't think he's a Hall of Fame player. I think they became famous because of their scandal. Pete Rose is a Hall of Fame baseball player.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I'll argue till I'm blue in the face with anybody who wants to argue that with you. I'll argue. Here's the thing. From our generation, I'm getting worked up, and we only got.
Yeah, I was say what are we going on here? We haven't even talked about football yet.
There's people in this debate because now these people from our generation that cheated, and I will say that, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, these people for the stats they put up, Alex Rodriguez, they should be in the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Put an asterisk on it. I don't care. Make a separate wing. I don't care. But if somebody does what Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa did to change the game because of the greedy people that became so much, and don't tell me that it's all about money. They always make money, and so they're so greedy. But when they were so greedy that the fans stopped going to games, in the mid '90s, and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire changed the history of the game because they began to hit home runs again and got people back in the seats. Baseball is forever indebted to Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think like Barry Bonds, you kind of mentioned him. The dude didn't even get 3,000 hits. That's the craziest thing, too, about it.
Here's the thing about Barry Bonds, and I put Barry Bonds in the same category as I put like Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. is a Hall of Famer, and he would have been a Hall of Famer in any generation he would have played in. He was hampered by the injury.
Yeah.
And people would say, well, if he would have took steroids, he wouldn't have been injured that much, or he could have recovered faster, which is true. He would have, but he would have cheated because it was illegal at the time.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, before he took one steroid, was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he was Triple Crown kind of guy.
Yeah, he was a 5-tool player, and he takes steroids. And he becomes this huge guy, and they're like, oh, it's going to slow bat speed. It's all going to do this. The guy broke the walks record for the career. He broke the home run record for the career. You couldn't throw a pitch to the plate that was anywhere near 17 and a half inches that Barry Bonds wasn't a danger to hit before or after steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Put an asterisk on his plaque. I don't care. But what they did for the game, they should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Oh, we're on the same page. All right.
Yeah, I'll step down now.
You're good. And there's a whole list of other people that they've moved on and are deceased and they're reinstating. There's a whole list of guys, but only a couple of them gets mentioned. So, but yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of a fun story-ish, and people can argue. Now we just have another angle to argue about this now. So
True. And I don't, as Tony Kornheiser said, shout out to the TK show, La Cheeserie. There is no way the baseball writers put him in the Hall of Fame now. And his timing, and the commissioner of baseball knew this. By releasing this now, they can only get in a certain way. And the only way Pete Rose gets in is by a special vote, by people in the back room. The writers are not putting Pete Rose in because they are the guardians of the statistics. So, anyway, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Last Pete Rose, son Pete Rose Jr., coached at Wichita Wingnuts.
Hey, I know what I'm talking about.
2016. And then he was released by the team and not renewed in 2017. So he lasted a long season.
He was pardon my French, he was a shit show.
Well,
he learned from the. He was full entertainment value at Wichita. That's exactly what he was.
That's what they brought him in for.
Yep, that's exactly. They sold tickets with Pete Rose Jr.
Yep.
So, anyway, moving on.
Do we have a moving on?
Well,
not really. I mean, we've talked sports. We're kind of. I don't really have anything else unless you have something.
I want to say this. We have
being a true fan.
Being a true fan. Okay.
Oh,
I want to jump at this, and I just want to say this with all due respect. I know.
Here we are. All due respect, we're about to piss off somebody.
We're about to make somebody mad. Yeah. Okay, so I used to be married to somebody who was a Chiefs fan, and the first day I showed up at her parents' house, I was in a Broncos hoodie and a Broncos hat. And her mom said, this is the first time I met her family. Her mom said to me, I don't think you're allowed to come into this home.
Jeez.
Now, she was just kidding, and she let me in.
Yeah.
And I will say this, my wife, ex-wife now, at the time, she never, that I can remember, now if I'm wrong, I apologize, but that I can remember, she never bought me anything Broncos. Because I'm a Broncos fan. She was a Chiefs fan. Her mom did bite the bullet, and she would buy me Broncos stuff for Christmas. So I want to say Shelley Veenstra is a true Kansas City Chiefs fan. I will say that.
There you go.
Okay. So there's that.
And that's the reason is because you can set aside being a fan of your team and your hatred for your rivals.
Right.
And be okay with winning and losing. And
that's exactly it. You're a Dallas Cowboys fan, so you're used to losing recently.
Yes.
Who's your baseball team?
Well, I mean, growing up in Lincoln, we had TBS and WGN, and my brother's a Cubs fan, so I was naturally a Braves fan. But I mean, back in the day, those are the two teams that you got to watch all the time. And so I followed the Braves enough where I had, I think, one jersey growing up, so I think I was good.
Who's your NBA team?
I don't really watch NBA anymore. I mean, obviously, I'm big Jordan fan, so I always watch the Bulls. But
that's the same thing with the Cubs. They were on WGN, so we could watch them in the Midwest no matter what.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But then it's just, the best player in the world, playing. So,
right. But everybody who knows you, Justin, knows that you're a Husker fan through and through.
100%.
There's no changing your loyalty at all.
There is no inviting me to any weddings during the fall because I will not show up. I will figure out how to watch a game, even if I'm at a birthday party or a wedding.
Yeah. But here's the thing I want to ask you, because you would be the definition of a true fan, but I want to ask you a qualifying question.
Yeah.
And I think I know the answer because I attended the Texas game with you when Nebraska lost. When Nebraska loses a game, and they've lost a lot over these last few years.
Yeah.
You tell me this. Do you still respect the winning team for what they did to beat the Huskers?
I mean, I can respect a team beating Nebraska. Yes. Do I make excuses for the fact that Nebraska probably beat themselves?
Sure.
And we've lost all these dumb games? Yeah, I will be that type of fan.
But
I can respect a team coming in and beating Nebraska.
Can you
Yeah.
admit when a team is better than the Huskers?
Oh, 100%. Dude, I sat through one of the worst butt kickings Ohio State gave to Nebraska, and we sat. I was with an Ohio State fan, a Penn State fan, and me and the other person were Husker fans. We went to this Nebraska Ohio State game in Memorial Stadium, and I sat through that whole game. Now, Becky will say there's one time where my fandom got too much. It was a birthday weekend that I bought tickets for us to go to the game, and Nebraska lost against Oklahoma State in a really bad blowout game, and we left the game early. And it's one of the few times that I wouldn't leave games early for, because I always wanted to watch it to the end. Just watching football in general. But Becky still talks about that to this day, that I ruined her birthday weekend because I wasn't happy. But that was I think that was the year Callahan. I think those are Callahan fire years, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, I'll sit and watch. I mean, I'm not clapping for the team as they walk by, but if I see somebody, I'll tell them congrats. At Memorial Stadium, you can get down right to the walkway where the team, you can get to the visitor's fence essentially and walk up, and if they're turning around talking to you or whatever, like, you literally can talk to them anywhere all the way until they go back to the locker room. Like, that's kind of the access that you have in Lincoln sometimes, for a lot of fans, not just because I have connections. I mean, and so, yeah, respectfully, coaches and stuff that you see, I can respectfully say that I tell them good job, even if we lost, even if they, thanks for coming, kind of one of those things, but not in a snarky attitude way. But
and that's the way you are with the Huskers. You give me crap for I will watch and be entertained by other teams in college football because I've moved around so much. To me, college football is regional. And
I get that. I can understand that.
As somebody who's moved around, from the Midwest to the West all my life, I've learned to watch the team that's on TV. And so,
yeah, I would agree with, like, now that you can just get it anywhere, you can watch
true
all that stuff. I would agree with you. In the last 20 years,
yeah,
it's been easier to watch your teams everywhere.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, my parents are from Nebraska, so the Huskers are near and dear to my heart. I've got a Husker hat hanging at the doorway, So I mean, Huskers are still important to me, but I'll follow. I follow the Buffs because of Dion. I follow Oregon State because I live out here. I follow these teams that are regional and local to me. But one team that I am a true fan of is the Denver Broncos, and as everybody knows, that I get grief for it. But here's what I want to say, and I want to toot my own horn for a minute as being a true fan.
Yeah,
I can take losing just fine.
Yeah.
And when, again, I was married to a Chiefs fan, and I told her the day they hired Andy Reid, I looked at her in the face and I said, in 5 years, the Chiefs will be the best team in the NFL.
Yep.
And I said that as a Bronco fan. And she goes, oh, wow. Because at the time, the Chiefs were horrible. Denver, in the rivalry between Denver had won 9 in a row against the Chiefs. People talk about the Chiefs' record against Denver right now, and the Patrick Mahomes record against Denver, and Andy Reid against Denver. Andy Reid came to Denver after Peyton Manning was in Denver. Denver beat Kansas City like the little brother they were. Okay, for 9 years in a row, they didn't lose a game to them.
Yeah,
not 9 years, nine games in a row. So 4 or 5 years they didn't lose a game.
4.5 seasons. Yeah.
And now the Chiefs have flipped the script and done the same thing. And here's what I hate about Chiefs fans. Chiefs fan sits here and just like spits on your face and like, we're better than you. We're better than you. Look at that. Take that. Take that. But here's the thing. As a true Denver Bronco fan, when you're kicking our butts, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, yeah, but this and that. I'm like, good job. You beat us.
Correct.
So here's what I want to say. If you want to be a true fan to something, there's a lot of Chief bandwagoners right now. Patrick Mahomes is the goddess of the world. And yet, here's the thing. If you can't lose with grace, and win with grace, you're not a true fan.
I can get behind that.
So, those of you that are out there that are true fans of your team, think about this. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, how are you feeling when you lose?
Man, I used to think I would let that. I remember they kind of letting, like, I just didn't want to do anything. Like, now it's just like, all right, what time the game was at? Okay, cool. Now we have, I'll sit around and I put myself through some of the worst. I think the fact that I sit and listen to the one thing that I have that I think I can kind of separate myself is I listen to call-in shows after a game, win or lose. I will listen to people from every spectrum, from the very negative to the very positive and everything in between. And I think that's actually kind of helped me understand what other people go through, because some of these people are just crazy. I mean, we hosted one of these at one of the games this last year. I think we talked about it on the podcast. We hosted one of those call-in shows down at the property by that our church owns, down by Memorial Stadium, and we hosted a radio station there for a call-in show. And man, just seeing it live firsthand with fans showing up and talking about things, it's crazy. I think that kind of helps me separate that some things, and then just life in general, right? Unless we've all gone through a season of things, right? And at that point, you realize, dang, this is nothing compared to other things. So I think that's kind of helped.
Yeah, for sure. It gives perspective. We talked about that at the 9/11 episode too.
Yeah.
When we, for me and I was ignorant at the time, just like I was during COVID as well. But it's like we needed sports to give us a release and a relief from the stress of every day. And I think that's, if you are so wrapped up in your team that it ruins your life, you need to really evaluate yourself.
Yeah.
And I had to look at, so again, this is what I do on the podcast. I've talked way too much this episode. I apologize, but
this must have been built up.
I've had to look in the mirror when it comes to this topic as a Broncos fan, as a Husker fan. I've told you this. There were times when I'd be watching from Oklahoma or Missouri or wherever, and I'm like, I would get so angry. I'm like, why can't they just fix this? This isn't hard. Why are you still doing stupid things? And I would get so mad it would ruin my day.
Yeah.
And
I remember you texted me stuff all the time.
When it was the Broncos, it was even worse.
Yeah.
And that would happen on a Sunday. And I would sit there and my day would be ruined. And I looked in the mirror one day and I'm like, you know what? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So I began turning Husker games off. When I started feeling myself get angry, turn it off. I wasn't going to allow it.
You were sometimes, I'd ask you, especially being on the West Coast, I'd be like, hey, you watching the game? Or I'll text you. She's like, oh, no, I'm not watching it yet. I'm taping it. And then I almost felt like some days you just ask me, hey, is it worth even watching?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I get you. Like, I'll get you.
There's times when if it's just going to make me mad, I won't watch it. I'll check if I check the score and I'm checking the score while I know I've recorded the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's 10-9 in the fourth quarter and they just blew it again. Then I won't go watch it because I know I'm going to be mad.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I don't even do that. Like, I don't even know the last time I couldn't watch Huskers live. So you're right. My fandom is Huskers. Like, and nowadays, I don't even care if I go to games in person. It is a luxury to have them right down the street and your favorite team, and you can go. But days with HDTV and then my setup that I have in my basement, like, I don't need to go anywhere. I can watch 4 football games and I can be happy and don't have to do anything, and I can still get the honeydew list and not get yelled at. So
there you go.
But
yeah, well, we've gone over tonight, and you've let me talk way too much. But what do you got going on for the next few days, Justin?
Ooh, I don't know. I haven't been. I don't think there's really anything on our schedule. I think we have an open weekend. I can't think of anything. Nothing.
Nice. Good for you.
There'll be something. surprised my wife's not yelling from the other room telling me I have a whole list of things. But last week, my mother-in-law was here, and her and Becky did a bunch of things around the house for getting things, spring cleaning for the summer kind of thing. So, maybe I'll just go sit out in the yard barefoot and be with the earth and just water my yard constantly. Maybe I'll just do that over and over.
There you go.
Well, we'll have church. Obviously, I'll be involved with the church stuff. There's probably some install stuff to do, and finishing up installing some things at the church that I didn't get to do last weekend because I was traveling. So, but probably just take it easy.
Cool.
What about you? What you got going on? What's on the?
Well, this weekend is I've got my kids this weekend. We got all of our kids this weekend, so that's good. Those are always fun weekends. It's my birthday weekend, so in case you forgot, that's coming up.
But technically, it's next week, not this weekend.
It is. It's next week. But what I asked my kids asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said I want you to go to church with me. People don't realize. I think until you've been through it, they don't realize, especially when our life was church for most of our life. And I go to church now, and there's a lot of Sundays it's hard to go to church without my kids. And so I asked my kids, I said, I want you to go to church with me for my birthday. And so they're going to come to church with me on my birthday, and we're going to do that, and it's going to be fun. So then I've got some plans with my wife for my birthday, so that'll be good as well. And so yeah, that's what I've got going in the next few days. I have made a life change. We'll talk about more of that later on, but I'm excited about that. So here's a planted seed for you listeners. There is some new things coming my way from a career standpoint, so I'm excited for that as well.
We're getting ready to announce BJ's business is going to go global. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I just broke the news.
Yeah, no. Yeah, 3-day-old podcast is being sponsored by Thelander Leadership Consulting that is under construction right now. So
that's
under
true.
Construction, and there are some updates coming. So
it's cool, exciting stuff for you. Hey, we could have a spinoff for a podcast for things related to things. There's a lot of little things happening. More to come
for sure. And again, if you have any need for some consulting and some financial coaching, give us a holler at Thelander Leadership Consulting, and we'll reach out to you and make sure that we get you taken care of for sure.
BJ. I am not a part of this business. No, I'm just joking.
Well, you have been a supporter, and you've been an encourager. And as I've tried, let me just say this, and I know we're way over already, but
okay.
We are going to spin this off in some ways, even if it's just an informational podcast episode. But potential new business partner, coming down the pike, and she wants to join the podcast, possibly do a spin-off podcast for business. So we're looking into that, but I told her we would have her on and interview her and talk to her a little bit about her business and what she does and what I'll be joining her and doing. But also we've got some other interviews coming down the pike, some church people from your church, from work people or friends from your neck of the woods, and we're looking forward to it. And so be looking out for us, keep listening, and we got a lot coming down the pike. So
appreciate it, everybody.
Yeah. Well, man, thanks for joining us tonight. Justin, thanks for your insights. Thanks for being quiet so I could talk way too much tonight.
You're all right. You're all right.
We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week. So join us next time. But until then, here's to a lack of communication of irrelevant age news. We'll see you next time.
See ya.